Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today's recipe, I'm going to show you how to make a Kesari Bath, also known as Sooji Halwa, and a very popular dish in southern India and made slightly different from how you make North Indian Sooji Halwa. So without wasting any time, I'm going to show you the tips and tricks to make a perfect Sooji Halwa which will have a melt in the mouth texture. So let's just dive right in. So there are two steps to making a Sooji Halwa. One is bringing our water to a boil and keep simmering it and allow it to be warm while we roast the Sooji and get it to the right texture. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to boil the water. So the proportion of Sooji to water is 1:3 cups of water. But here I'm going to be using a little bit of milk and a combination of water as well. So it gives a nice richness to the Sooji Halwa. I typically add lesser milk and more water because I like it to be a little more light. If you would like it to be more richer and heavier, then you can add more milk as well. But the proportion is 1 cup of Sooji to 3 cups of water. 3 cups of liquid is a great proportion. Okay, so let's just get started. So this is a cup that I measured the Sooji in. So this is exactly the water amount that I'm going to add. So which is essentially liquid amount, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and add 1 and 2, and I'm going to be adding some milk as well. There you go. So now I'm going to be adding the sugar as well into this. So now I'm going to keep stirring the sugar until the sugar dissolves, and after that, once the milk and the water become warm, I'm going to keep it on low to medium heat on my stove at the back, and then show you how to roast the Sooji and then finally put the Sooji Halwa together. And it's very important that you keep this liquid mixture, which is the milk and the Sooji mixture, warm, or in fact hot, because that's when you get a perfect texture of the Sooji Halwa. Okay, and to this I'm just going to go ahead and add in some kesar, which is saffron strands, and adding the saffron strands to the milk allows the Sooji Halwa to get a nice color. But I also like adding a little bit of turmeric powder because the saffron strands don't completely give that color that you want. So if you don't have saffron strands, then you can also add a pinch of turmeric, and I'm going to add that much later. But dissolving the saffron strands in the milk would sort of keep releasing the flavors into the water, and then we'll have a good one. So the next step is to roast the Sooji in ghee. So so I like to take about a little more than 1/4 cup of ghee for making the Sooji Halwa. For 1 cup of Sooji, I use about 1/4 cup of ghee. Okay, so that's just good enough. A lot of people use a lot more, sometimes a little less, but this is just a perfect amount. So that's it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and roast in the Sooji or the rava and the ghee until you can smell the roasted aroma coming through. Ensure that you roast it on medium heat so that it doesn't brown, and it's important that it doesn't brown because you want that nice color of the Sooji Halwa. Okay, so you don't want it brown in color for the Kesari Bath. So I can start smelling the aromas of the roasted Sooji, and ensure that you keep stirring it, because if you don't, it'll get brown way too fast. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and add in the little bit of turmeric powder that I told you, just a pinch of it to add to that good color of the Kesari Bath. Okay, so just roast the turmeric powder just a little bit. It does not add any taste, or it doesn't affect the flavor of the Kesari Bath at all. Okay, and that's it. So now I'm ready to actually pour in my hot water, which has been simmering, hot liquid, which is the milk and water, and pour it very, very slowly, because when you're adding the warm water to the hot Sooji, then it will start spluttering and splashing all over. So hence the reason you turn the heat to low, and then you keep pouring the water, and then keep stirring it as well so there's no lump formation. Okay, and there you go. Perfect. So ensure you keep stirring it so it thickens up. Notice the beautiful colors. So we'll just wait for it to thicken. It'll just take about less than 2 minutes for the Sooji Halwa to thicken, and it really takes just 10 minutes to make a Sooji Halwa if it's just 1 cup. Okay, and really quick and simple, and you must try this. And great. So notice that it's thickening. It's just perfect. The most important thing is that it doesn't form lumps, and the trick to that is to ensure that you add the warm water and the suji is nice and hot, and then you keep stirring it while it is thickening. Great. Just love this consistency. Beautiful flavors of the halwa coming through from the kesar and the ghee. I just love halwas, and then I love having it for breakfast along with my Rava Upma, Kesari Bath and Rava Upma, also known as Chow Chow Bath popularly in Karnataka. It's amazing. I just love it. Great. Okay, at this stage it's thickened up. What I'm going to do is, and it would have cooked as well, but there is one more important tip that I'm going to share right now, which is going to add a great consistency to the halwa. Okay, at this stage I'm just going to flavor it with some elaichi powder. I like to add the elaichi powder right in the end because then it heightens up the flavor and then it stands out beautifully. You can also add kapoor, okay, and if you have kapoor at home, edible kapoor, you can definitely add that. And there you go. And I'm going to add in just a little bit more ghee and then cover the pan and then simmer it in low heat for about a minute or two and then turn off the heat. So the next step is to roast the cashew nuts. So into a preheated pan, I'm just going to add in some ghee and ensure you keep the heat on medium-low because you want the cashew nuts to roast slowly until it's nice and golden brown and not turn brown too fast, okay? So to this, I'm just going to go ahead and add in some cashew nuts. So keep stirring the cashew nuts and allow it to roast until it turns lightly golden brown and crisp, okay? You don't want it to become dark or burnt, and hence it's important to roast it on low heat. Cashew nuts take a while to roast from inside out, so ensure that you do it on low heat. If you do it on high heat, it'll brown, it'll be kacha from the inside. Okay, then notice that the cashew nuts are turning golden brown. At this stage, I'm just going to add in the raisins. They're supposed to roast for just a little bit more, but while we are roasting the raisins, the cashew nuts will get roasted as well. So the kismis needs to fluff up, it should not shrink. So the moment the raisins or the kismis fluffs up, then you know that it's well done, and that's it, you have to remove it from the pan. And it'll automatically sort of shrink in, but once it fluffs up is when you know it's well done. Okay, so there you go. So this looks good. Keep stirring it. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat, and now I'm going to add this to my Kesari Bath or the Sooji Halwa. There you go. Doesn't that look beautiful? We'll add this in. I'm just going to give this a stir. Look at that texture. Isn't that perfect? Wonderful. So now all in all, it just took me 10 minutes to make this Kesari Bath. Really, really simple. As I said, if that elaichi powder is the key, and if you have kesar or saffron strands, then you can add that. And if you don't, you can also add a pinch of turmeric to give that color for the Kesari Bath. And then don't forget the cashew nuts and the kismis, because that's what heightens the flavor as well. There you go. So this is done. So I really hope you enjoyed watching the recipe of how to make the Kesari Bath or the Sooji Halwa, and it's one of my favorite dishes, and I always love having it with Sooji Upma and some chutney. So do give this recipe a try, and when you do, don't forget to share your feedback in the comments below and any other way that you make it very differently. And and when you do try the recipe, don't forget to take a snapshot of it and tag me across all my social channels, because I'd love to hear from you. So until then, until next time, happy cooking and healthy eating.